because Tracy here has written a book and she's got her Wonder Woman pose going on right now. All right, Tracy sent me an intro. Her book. If you haven't heard about it, she's going to tell you about it. Title of this speech is Why I Wrote Floating Underwater. It's already on Amazon. Go check it out.
Ooh.
Her intro. Tracy, award-winning author Tracy Shawn discusses her recently published book, which bestseller author Marlene Adelstein says is beautifully written, ethereal, and eloquent pleasure. Tracy, come on over here and tell us all about it.
Thank you, Anna.
The second novel, Floating Underwater, came to me from some personal experience, but mostly through sheer imagination. I knew I wanted to write about a character named Paloma, who had and is going through extraordinary experiences in her life, and overlaying that also dealing with a lot of loss and grief. And I wanted to also write in the genre of magical realism. Paloma is fearful that her premonitions not only can predict the future, but may change its very course. And then after she has a latest vision predicting her third miscarriage, she's utterly devastated. And that came to me because I had experienced 2 miscarriages myself in my life, and I wanted to write about what it's like for a character dealing with that particular loss, because it's a loss so many people have to endure, and yet also a loss that so many people don't get to fully grapple with and understand. And on top of that, I wanted to have a character go through when their life just veers off course, and how they have to learn ultimately to not just accept that their future is going to be very different than what they had planned, but also embrace it. And within this, I wanted to write about the theme of how we are often so afraid of our own power, particularly the power of the feminine, which is in all of us, and that we sometimes don't recognize our gift of intuition, which we all have as well. I believe, the older I get, that their day-to-day reality, our disappointments, our hurts, the world we're living in with all the bad news that's bombarding us, reality is just too hard to bear sometimes. Without thinking, hoping, no matter what religion or spiritual place you come from, that there's got to be something more, I hope. So I wrote this magical realism, otherworldly events for readers and myself, because I feel like we all need a little bit more of that magic in our life. And it was really fun for me to write in this genre because I grew up with a grandfather who staunchly believed in ghosts. And he was my beloved Grandpa John, and he would talk about how he had midnight tea with ghosts in his Devonshire cottage, and I believed every word he said, by the way. I still do. And then his mother, my great-grandmother, Anna, was said to have psychic abilities. She could read people's palms and tea leaves. Now, I myself, I don't have any psychic abilities. I've never seen a ghost, and I'm sure some of you can relate to this. I fall into that kind of empath realm where I'm a highly sensitive person, and so I feel my husband will attest to this. I feel emotions very, very, very deeply. And I can feel other people's emotions. And so they sometimes go right into my body. So it felt natural for me to quote David Bowie, to write about the weird and the wonderful. And it was really fun. The other thing that I like to do in all my writing is I love to write about complicated relationships. I love to read about it too, especially those long-term relationships that we have, mother-daughter relationships, long-term relationships that we have with our loved ones, because those relationships we learn a lot from. Those relationships often give us a lot of love, support, understanding, but on the flip side, sometimes those closest long-term relationships also can give us heartache. We can feel misunderstood, even betrayed sometimes. So in our real life, we want to strive to get a deeper understanding ultimately with the people we are closest to. And that's what I like to write for my characters as well. Ultimately, what I really hope that I get a lot of readers, but I hope the readers will just enjoy reading it, enjoy the journey of a woman going through some very extraordinary things into her own self-actualization and acceptance of her gifts. And that for all of us, myself included, that it helps us somehow, because I know other people's writings have helped me with this, just fiction, nonfiction, help us make sense of this upside down, crazy world we live in, with the hope that there's something beyond what we know that will somehow, someday, give us some sort of sense.
Wow, Tracy, this book sounds amazing, and I am ready to get it. It's on Amazon. You can check it out. Floating Underwater. She did an amazing job with this. Thank you, Tracy, for being so vulnerable, talking about yourself and putting it out.